Hi everybody, it's Seraphine, and today I'm going to be doing something really different because this video is about Richard Phillips Feynman, a Nobel laureate whose contributions to theoretical physics include extensive papers on quantum electrodynamics, quantum mechanics, particle physics, and many other fields. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. The reason I'm making this video is that since I'm nearly done with my calculus book, rereading it, I've decided to revisit my favorite physics textbooks here. And while I was reading these, I was reminded that before these, I'd been reading and rereading the adventures of a curious character. I'm talking about these books. They capture him at his best. He's spirited and it's hilarious in every way. If I had 5 words to describe him, they would be genius, curious, adventurous, mischievous, and unorthodox. Just like most people, Feynman had a simple childhood, but what set him apart was the endless curiosity that followed him for the rest of his life. As a child, Feynman was deeply influenced by his father, who taught him the power of observation. Growing up, he had an encyclopedia to read, a simple lab to experiment with, and of course, plenty of time to think. All the bare necessities to make a great scientist. He spent most of his time cultivating the rational steps of scientific method, laying a strong foundation for his future. And sure enough, throughout the memoirs on him written by his friends, he never ceased to apply his mind. His memoirs take us from his early teens, when he learned how to repair a radio and gained the reputation of a boy who could fix radios by thinking, to his undergraduate years in MIT, working his way up to be a great physicist, and then to his graduate years in Princeton, where his awkwardness in high society was responded with, "Surely you're joking, Mr. Feynman." To his many stints in commercial institutions, where he creatively used his scientific knowledge to make new innovations. Feynman radiated the joy of physics, the joy of learning new things, the joy of learning new ways to do things. His students have caught that infection, and so have I. Let me read you a few lines from one of his books. The Meaning of It All, which is a transcript from one of his many lectures. The ideas I wish to describe are old ideas. There is practically nothing that I'm going to say tonight that could not easily have been said by philosophers of the 17th century. Why repeat all this? Because there are new generations born every day. And I feel like that would mean us. Unlike many great minds who prefer to live a quiet and private life, Feynman was an extrovert. He was adventurous. He liked joining new places, meeting new people, and just plain having fun. Mischievous by nature, he shared many of his father's unorthodox views of the world, and a great sense of humor from his mother. During his Los Alamos atomic bomb years, he would crack open the safes of many of his colleagues and make it look like they had a spy amongst them. The irony to that episode was that they did indeed have a spy amongst them. His name was Klaus Fuchs, and he was a British-German theoretical physicist. He was passing on information to the Soviet Union. It was only discovered many years after the project had closed. Nurtured by his father and hardened by his personal experience of the loss of his first wife, Arlene, Feynman despised strict and conservative settings. As a famous professor who was often invited by institutions all around the world, he loved to venture out from his designated accommodation so as to see the world from a different perspective. And so went the story of how he learned how to play a pen-like music instrument in Brazil, the frigideira, became very good at it, and eventually ended up participating in a local carnival. Another musical instrument he played was the bongo, and he also became very good at it. He once wandered into the poorest section of Trinidad just so he could subtly tell us the story of how different cultures influence the success of a person's life. Stayed in a remote inn in Japan just so that he could experience the authentic local feeling. And he attempted many times to travel to the hard-to-reach geographical center of Asia, tuba, all because he wanted to know more about the natural tuban singing. Check out tuban singing on YouTube. It's amazing. He never got to see tuba, He died shortly before his visa arrived. However, his daughter and his friend did get to go to Tuva. All these descriptions, they were only the backdrop of his life as a great scientist. Feynman loved physics. His lectures on physics for undergraduate students are incredibly fun to read and an insight into a very beautiful mind. The 3 lectures are available online, free for anyone who'd like to read them. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.